Okay, so I'll be going over number 3A from the midterm called scope and static. So the directions say, suppose you have a class cake as defined as below. Suppose you also have an instance of this class named red velvet. So they define the class here, and they want us to select all the true statements below from this list. So something that we should know is that cake count is static and method A is also static, whereas flavor and method B are not static. So those are an instance variable and an instance method. So static variables and static methods can only access other static methods and static variables. This is super important to know. Additionally, whenever we're trying to refer to something from a static context, for example, here, when we call method A on the cake class, we are calling method A from a static context. And so whenever we call something from a static context, it can only access a static variable or static methods. It cannot access instance variables or instance methods. And whereas instance variables and instance methods can access both static variables and static methods, as well as other instance variables and instance methods. So knowing that, we can look through our different options that we have. So they're asking us, does red velvet.method A compile? So I know red velvet is an instance of the cake class, and we know that method A is a static method. And so since we know that instance variables can access both instance methods and static methods, this one will compile. So we can check that one off. Then they're asking us, does cake.method A compile? So cake is a static context, but method A is also a static method. So therefore, this one will also compile. Next, they ask us, will red velvet.method B compile? So method B is an instance variable, or instance method. However, red velvet is an instance of the cake class. And so since we're trying to access a instant object from an instance context, this one will also compile. So then we get to cake.method B. So cake, this is a static context, right? Because we haven't created an instance of cake. We're just saying on the cake class, let's call method B. So this one actually will not compile because method B is an instance method. So in order to call method B, we would have to create an instance of the cake class like we did in this line with red velvet. Otherwise, we cannot call method B. So the next one asks us, method A may reference the variable flavor. So remember, method A is a static method and flavor is an instance variable. Static methods cannot access instance variables or instance methods because those are specific to each object, whereas static variables and static methods are one copy for the entire class and for all the instances. So this one will actually not compile either. The next line asks us, method B may reference the variable cake count. So method B is an instance method, and cake count is a static variable. So instance methods can access both static and non-static variables, and so this one will compile. And this one, obviously, we will leave not checked off because we did check a few of them off, so it's not none of the above.